Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to your power call. Welcome to your power call. Welcome back to your power call. As always, appreciate you all tapping in. Let's get a moment for the family to come on in. Welcome to your power call. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a brother to tell a sister so we can enjoy this power call together. It's your brother Wesley, with another electrifying lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, The Problems in Relationships. We talked about what is your role in marriage yesterday and Monday. So now we're going to get into those intricacies that we need to be able to get over as well to continue to strive to improve on, because there's never enough knowledge that can be poured on us that we can always learn. There's always room for improvement. What's the biggest room in everyone's life is the room of improvement. So we always are striving to be able to improve every day. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I know on the Vimeo side you can't see me just yet, but let me know if you can see the image with the title okay as well, because that will let me know that everything is working well. Let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, or at least see the image for sure on your screen. Again, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to your power call. If we have any new guests, welcome to your power call. All returning members, welcome back to your power call. Praise be to Allah. I got the chats up here to be able to see everybody on both sides. Again, as we're going to have another electrifying lecture from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the problems in relationships, striving to improve every day, striving to get over these problems. We've been given teachings that help us with all of our problems, to be able to remove the blemishes that we've taken on from this world and the teachings of this world. So we always are looking to improve and identifying things that we may not have knew were problems, things that we know are problems but not sure how to solve. We're going to get some insight on how to solve those problems with relationships. And we all are in some form of relationships, whether it's friendships, brothers and sisters, family, um, intimate relationships as well, as far as marriage is concerned, as well. So as we continue to strive to improve, this will be another great reminder for us to be able to continue on this road of improvement as well. So if everybody can hear me and see me okay, as customary, we will, as always, begin and open up in prayer so that we can have our minds, our hearts, and also make sure you got your pen and your pad to take notes, because it's always good to take notes. Let's make sure we're utilizing the Power Call testimonial space as well to be able to share our feedback. Those who would like to share their feedback, because we all are learning from each other. Even if you aren't on the premium side, to be able to share live on the call, your testimonies and your feedback is still seen, heard, and appreciated in the app, in the Power Call testimonial space. So be sure to do so. And let's go ahead and open up in prayer, then we'll go ahead and get the lecture started. All right. Attention prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, surely I have turned myself, being upright, to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this I am commanding, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art the Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee, and guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thee. And turn me away from the evil and indecent morals, for none turns away from evil and indecent morals but thee. O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham successful, and the true followers of Abraham successful, for surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad, and the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham, for surely thou art praiseworthy and magnified. Ameen. So again, welcome back to your power call. I pray we've invited many. I do see where we have made a lot of referrals on the app. I believe we are well over 600 members within the app. So congratulations and round of applause to everybody who has been sharing, been telling the people, been sharing your experiences with the family on how you've been enjoying the app. Be sure if you would like to join the app, if you've just received an invite from someone, to go to www.thepowercall.net. If you would like to visit your local Muhammad Mosque or study group, please go to www.noistudygroup.com. Be sure to fill out the form. The sister will reach out to you as soon as possible with the location information for a local Muhammad Mosque or study group nearest to you. Be sure to, when you do visit your local Muhammad Mosque or study group, complete that sign-in sheet, return it back to the sister, a screenshot or a completed form to the sister, so that we can give you credit, for coming out to your local Muhammad Mosque and study group. And please share your feedback when you come back. Let us know what you think. Let us know how your experience went as well, because others want to see and be able to understand what it is that we're learning, what we're exposed to, and how we're improving based off of these teachings as well. So let's say, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the lecture for today, problems in relationship. This will be a two-part lecture that we're going to be in. So we'll watch the first half today, share some feedback, and then we'll watch the final half tomorrow, share feedback on that. And again, utilize the Power Call testimonial space to share your takeaways and feedback. If you have anything that you would like to share with the family that you've pulled out from the lecture, this part and the second part that we're going to watch tomorrow, and also the previous lectures that we have, if you haven't shared, please share, because we all are learning and see things from different perspectives based off our experience and knowledge base and understanding of these teachings. So as we continue to get exposed and continue to grow on this path, let's share what we've learned, because it may be helping somebody that may have questions in their mind, but they may be a little shy and want to ask the question. So let's be sure to share our feedback so that we can help each other. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get the lecture started.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to introduce Brother Minister Farrakhan because he's no stranger to the world. I merely want to say, let us thank Almighty God for blessing us to be here this day, and let us welcome our leader, our teacher, our divine guide, Minister Louis Farrakhan.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is but one God, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of the one God, Allah. I'm very thankful to Allah for the privilege of standing before you this afternoon to recite to you some of the words of wisdom and guidance that we have received as a result of being students of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the magnificent wisdom that was brought to him by the great Mahdi, Master Farad Muhammad. I have so much to tell you, to share with you. I only hope that Allah will guide me in the things that I wish to impart to you this afternoon. I will start first by saying that I need the help of Allah, and I need your help. I need Allah's help always, because the task at hand is one that one does not dare to attempt without the help of God. The task of uniting black people, the task of raising us from a state of mental, moral, spiritual, social, economic, and political death, the task of extricating us from the lies and the tricks of the rulers of this world, particularly the government of the United States of America. That's a big task. And it is so much bigger than I am and than we are that I cannot attempt it, we cannot attempt it without asking Allah's help and guidance. And we certainly cannot be successful without the help of Allah and direct guidance from Him. Now, I need your help in helping to establish a national center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman of America. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad envisioned the city of Chicago as being the capital of Islam in the Western Hemisphere. That's a very big statement. Black people in America have not had a capital.
That's right.
I know that America has a capital, and that is, of course, Washington, D.C., and, of course, that is our capital, and I put that in quotes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because though it is our capital, it is not our capital. Nothing in Washington is for the benefit of 30 million suffering black people. Justice does not come out from Washington for you and me. Laws that have been put on the books that are good are not effectively enforced from Washington. The government has never interceded on our behalf to see that black men and women tried in white courts get justice in accordance with the laws of the land. Out of the capital, out of the government, from the august body of legislators, secret commissions have been formed to thwart the progress of black people, to destroy our organizations and the effectiveness of our leaders, and indeed even to kill our leaders that white people do not like and do not agree with. We have not had a capital. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was a man raised up by God to divinely lead and teach and guide black people of America. In his absence, I am to be a reminder of him to you and to the government of the warnings that Allah guided him to speak. And I am to sit in his seat by his permission. He was made by God, the leader, teacher, and guide of black people. And there is no doubt in my mind that he is that. And there is no doubt in my mind that I am that in his place. These are not vain statements. They are not meant to be boastful statements. They're just statements of actual fact, whether you wish to accept it or not. By the grace of Allah, we have retrieved that property that was to be used as a national center, or if you will, a national capital of black people. Not only black people in America, but a national capital of black people all over the world. What should we expect from such place? We should expect guidance, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, research, the publishing of books and periodicals that will feed new life to our people and in general to all people from that house. I want you to help me develop the University of Islam. Not a grade school, not a high school, but a bona fide university that babies attend as well as the grown-ups. Because when you brought your child into the world from the darkness of your womb, you brought your child into the universe of God, into a schoolroom, if you will, of divine truth. And from the time that baby was in the womb, it was feeling the effect of its environment. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And when it came forth out of the womb, it was feeling the effect of the home environment. It started learning from the day it could sense the environment. We need new textbooks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Textbooks written from a divine perspective. Yes, we do not need the textbooks of this world that approach every discipline with a denial of God. Right. That's right. That's right. We need God at the root of every discipline. For he is the author of all knowledge. How could God not be at the core of education when he is the author of knowledge and is the truth himself? Oh, praise be to God. I need your help in bringing this kind of knowledge to the world, to you first, because you and I have been made the least, and it is the intention and the will of God to make the least the most for his glory. He promised this, that he would take the foolish things of the world and confound the wise. He is now doing that. Out from that capital, the capital of black people, yes. Yes, shall come universal knowledge that is applicable to every member of the human family, including the Caucasian. I need your help in establishing a state-of-the-art television and radio facility. Yes, sir. That I may come to black people in America and throughout the world and all other human beings who wish to listen to me without coming through the filter of a Zionist-controlled media. I am misunderstood by my own people, not because I am incapable of speaking clear words. I am probably one of the clearest teachers on earth today. When you hear Louis Farrakhan, you would have to be dead not to understand me. And if you are mentally dead, God has blessed me to be able to reach you even in that condition and raise you from the dead. My brothers and sisters misunderstand me because they have learned of me through a wicked filter. A wicked filter. The media wants me misrepresented because they fear that if you heard what I really stood for, who I really am, and what I really have from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and from Almighty God Allah for your rise, that you would come not by the 5s and the 10s, but you would come by the thousands, because I am the one that you have been searching for all the days of your life. You see, I thought it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I am no more than an extension of him. I am he, and he is me, and we are one. Yes. So don't claim to accept him and reject me. If you love him, you've got to love me. Or you are a liar and the truth is not in you. I need your help to establish an ability to reach the world through satellite communication. They shouldn't be guessing about us in Africa. They shouldn't be guessing about us in the Middle East or in Asia. So when I speak from now on, I must not speak to small audiences. I must speak to the world, because I have a message in my mouth and a message in my heart for the whole world. And that message should not be impeded by language distortion or misunderstanding. There are those who stand ready to translate my words into Spanish and French and Arabic and the languages of the human family, that they may know that God has risen up a black man in America who can speak the language of the oppressed all over the world. I need your help. I have been remiss in my duty, because I have always taught and I've never told you what to do. After teaching you, I would inspire you and let you go to do what you will to do. I never inspired you and then directed you personally to help me. And therefore, every time I taught you and did not direct you to help me, I laid on you a burden. But I, in this last year, have been attempting to remove that burden from you. Because it is your duty to help a man that is speaking the bold truth uncompromisingly. I should not have to ask for your help. You should be running here to help me with everything that you have. That's true. Since I am not the author of the message I speak, nor am I the author of the strength that I possess, nor am I the author of the principles upon which I stand, then I came forth out of the darkness of my mother's womb to serve humanity, and when my time is over, I shall return to the womb of the earth and say farewell. But as long as I am present in the world doing this job, to help me is to help yourself. To back me is to lift yourself. To give help to me in establishing this national center is to free you and to say to the world that we recognize after 400 years of giving our sweat, our blood, our life, and our tears for America, that America has not answered our call. She has not answered our cry. No leader, no president, no government, no party has helped the black man. Therefore all praise is due to Allah. Therefore, I today feel no reservation in calling on you now to support a head that loves you, a head that thinks for you, a head that will act in your behalf, and a head that cannot be bought out by the powers of the world. I want to build your capital city. I want black people. It's not a Muslim capital. It's not a narrow thing that's just good for those who call themselves Muslims, because I am more than that. I didn't come here to preach for Muslims. I wasn't born into the world to preach for Muslims, though I am a Muslim. I am born into the world to preach for God. That's a big difference. And when you preach for God, you cannot slight humanity, particularly that black humanity out of which their longing, their cries have produced you. I am for my Christian brothers and sisters. I am for those who don't believe in God. Because I know that you don't believe in God because you have not found him in the hypocrisy of religion. But when you get acquainted with the truth, you can't help but believe in God. He is in the very core of your nature. So this is not a Muslim center. It is a capital for black people. Therefore, it should be made in a thing of beauty and a thing of pride. That when we walk by, we can say, that's mine. Yeah. Do you belong there? Sure, I belong there. Are you a Muslim? No, I ain't no Muslim, but I belong there. And if you know anything about the name Muslim, it only means a righteous person. And God has declared you to be the righteous, so you belong wherever righteous people are. That's where you belong. There's not a house devoted to God that you don't have some access to. But this one will be a blessed house. I need your help. Yeah. Well, what kind of help you need? I need money. That's the first thing I need. Oh, I knew there was something wrong. Man gonna ask me for my money. No, no, no. I'm asking you to help me build your capital. A house that will benefit you and your children and unborn generations. That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking nothing for me. I'm asking you, let's build a house of our own. Start with a capital and then let's go on and build a nation. A nation independent for the will of God. Based upon God. Rooted in his righteousness. That's what I'm asking. And I'm saying this to you, that because I have not asked for money, I have no record of that. In fact, I'm timid, is the truth. That has been one of my failings. I've been just timid to ask for money because I know how we are. I'm one of you, brother. Anytime people start asking for money, I get a funny feeling. But, you know, this is not my subject today. I'm just telling you. I got to get to my subject. I got to get off of this money so I can get to my subject. But what I'm saying to you is, I know when you got money, you want to hold it. I mean, that's natural, man. Because it took you so long to get it. It's so hard to get it. And you remember when you didn't have it. So when you get it and you got a little, you don't want to part with too much, you know. A little here, a little there, you know. I understand. But you know, that shows lack of confidence in the God who says that whatsoever is in the heavens and whatsoever is in the earth belongs to Allah. It all is His. He can give it to whom He pleases. So if you trust in Him, if He gives you something, or if you don't have something, but you know you can get something, then go and get and give and watch God continue to give you more. But if you're stingy with what you have, even that will be taken from you. Particularly when you know that Farrakhan is not asking you for himself. I have not asked nobody in this building or any other building to get me a new pair of shoes or socks or buy me a car. I don't ask that. Whatever I ask is always for our nation, always for our people. I mortgage anything I got for our people. And I have done it, am doing it, and will do it again and again and again, because I will die, but the people will live. So I'm going to move on. Now, brothers and sisters, I hope that you will help me. That you will make a commitment, not only you in the final call, but you that are listening by radio. Because the brothers and sisters, particularly the brothers, we're going to canvass the city. We're going door to door, house by house. And we're asking you, we're going to give you a flyer or giving you a picture of that national center and what it is supposed to do for us. And if it doesn't do that, then come get me. Because I'm not running any place. I live here. And we're going to ask every black man and woman in Chicago, what can you give to help build a national center? Not a shrine for something dead, but a monument to your rise as a people and our rise as a nation. We're coming to your door. Please help us. If all you have is $1, if you give 50 cents of that dollar, God will bless you. If you give $1, if you give 5, if you give 10, if you can give 20, whatever you can give, just think about what you give to the liquor store that gives you nothing. Think about what you give to the crack seller who's giving you death. Think about the temporal pleasure, the short pleasure that you buy from a prostitute who's only giving you pleasure for a minute and sadness for your lifetime when you come up with herpes, simplex, 10, and AIDS and syphilis. Think about the fine automobiles, the fine cars that you drive, and General Motors makes them to crack up in 3 years. Think about the fur coat that you have in your closet and the moths have eaten it up. But think about a national center that will feed your mind and develop your will and make a better woman and a better man and a better people. Think about the unwed mothers who have no school to go to, but there will be a university for them. Think about your little babies that need a proper education, and there will be a place for them. Think about those who will have correspondence courses who cannot come to the university, but from our publishing house, we will send educational materials everywhere in the world to feed and raise the black man up so that he may represent his people and the God who created him. Think about all of that. And when the brothers come with their credentials saying that they are from me, then when they knock on your door, help me to build something for you that we can be proud of as a people, as a beginning step in the right direction. I know that you will, and I'm sorry I took so long to say that, but that wasn't my subject. I had a very interesting study in this past 10 days. And God showed me so much that I wanted to share some of it with you today. And I couldn't help, after listening to Sister Tanetta Muhammad, some scholars of Islam say that Allah put the Quran in Muhammad at once. But it was circumstances that brought out aspects of the Quran. You will find that there never was a revelation of a verse of the Quran that was not preceded by a set of circumstances that those verses were aimed at correcting. It just wasn't a book sent down. It was a book sent down to correct prevailing conditions. I thought of that, and I thought of an experience that I had in 1985, where in a vision I was taken up on the Mother of Plains, and there I heard the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the wheel, revealing to me the secret plans of Ronald Reagan and the Joint Chiefs of Staff to start a particular war. I know that Mr. Reagan could not know that I, a black man who has no intelligence gathering apparatus, I cannot eavesdrop on the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But what I was told on the wheel, I told you. And then later it was revealed by white people that in the very month that I got that vision, Reagan had met with the Joint Chiefs of Staff to plan a war against Libya's Muammar Gaddafi. I went to Libya against the desires and wish of the United States government and told Gaddafi of their plans. I told Mr. Schultz, Secretary of State from Tripoli, leave this alone. This is the wrong course of conduct. It would not bring you good results. But more than that was told to me on the wheel. That which was told that I understood, I spoke. But I told you also that a scroll went off in my head, but I could see the reflection of the scroll outside of me in a cursive writing. And as I began to look closer at the scroll to understand it, Elijah Muhammad spoke again to me, and I could not read the writing, but the writing was inside. And from 1985 to today, I have both been saying and doing things that you don't have nobody around me teaching or telling me, but words start coming out that are crystal clear. And today's subject matter, by the grace of God, shall be equal to that and maybe more. We are suffering from the scourge of drugs as a people. There's hardly a family in America, particularly a black family, that doesn't have a member of that family that has been victimized by drugs. You know as well as I that drugs has been pretty much a black experience until recent years. It was primarily in the black community. And with our rise into consciousness, there was a greater and greater inflow of purer forms of drugs. In the 60s, it was heroin. And when the 60s erupted and blacks began marching with Dr. King and with H. Rap Brown and with Stokely Carmichael and with Malcolm X and the Panther Party, white folks got frightened because there was no religion that was holding us. There was no education that was holding us. So the only thing that could contain us was more potent drugs. And so there was an influx into the black community of a more pure form of heroin. As the 70s came and went, and we come to the 80s, Farrakhan became more subject to government scrutiny because he was rebuilding the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and God had blessed me to do it in such a wise way that before they knew what was going on, the nation was up and moving again.
Yes, sir. That's right.
In the latest Final Call newspaper, Attorney Louis Myers, who has ever been a fighter for justice for our people, outlines that Louis Farrakhan has now become public enemy #1 of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, of the CIA domestically, and of the government of the United States of America. Why am I public enemy #1? I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble, I don't use drugs, I don't chase women, I'm not a homosexual, I teach the truth to black men and black women. Is this why I'm public enemy #1? Is this why the government is sparing no cost and no pain to try and put Brother Farrakhan in jail? And did you think, white America, that you made a jail big enough to handle me? No, no, no. I'm born to master your jails and your prisons. In fact, I'm growing stronger every day in every prison in America. You don't have a hole deep enough or black enough to put me in, because there's no hole black enough that is blacker than the triple darkness of the womb out of which I came from my mother. And in the darkness of my mother's womb, there was a God present with me. And in the darkness of my mother's womb, there was light in that darkness. Therefore, God said, in the beginning, darkness covered the face of the heavens and the earth. And God said, let there be light. So if you think you can put me in a hole or put me in a dark cell or put me in a jail, you can only put my body there. But I am a man from Almighty God that have a light in triple darkness. And I have a God with me that if you try to put me in jail, he will stir up the masses of the people, and it will make what is happening from Mandela look like a kindergarten fairy tale story. Today, cocaine has taken over where heroin left off. Cocaine and its derivatives, morphine and the like, and heroin, these are used as poisons in the medical world to diminish pain, to diminish pain, to diminish pain. But now they've gone into their laboratories, the wicked scientists, and they have taken cocaine and they have added chemicals to it, knowing that these chemicals that they now call crack and whack and smack and send you all the way back into the hills and cave sides. That these chemicals will alter the process of thinking, destroy you mentally, destroy you socially, turn you into a devil in human form. There is not a black family, and now many, many white families have children that are sold to drugs, whose life is so dependent on this substance, whether it is alcohol as a depressant or cocaine as a stimulant. These drugs have altered the chemistry of the brain, but they are feeding on a genetic imbalance, a biogenetic need, a chemical need in the brain. A chemical need for relief from pain and the finding of pleasure. It is pleasure that the world is seeking to get away from pain. Let's look now, please. God makes us to know pain, because the world is filled with opposites. That's the nature of God. And that's the nature in which he created all things. There is a negative in every positive. Yes. There is weakness even in strength. And there is strength in weakness. So God said his strength is made perfect in weakness. So God can bring strength up out of weakness and bring the incorruptible out of that which has been corrupted. See? He takes opposites and works with opposites. And therefore, in the beginning there was darkness. Then he said, I want light, the opposite of darkness. In the beginning there was no motion. Then he started motion from motionless space. Huh? Then there was chaos, and he ordered order out of chaos. Think over to God. He deals with opposites. We need to analyze as deeply as we can the sickness of alcoholism, the sickness of drug dependency. All the scholars today call it a disease. They don't want to say it's the loss of will. They say it's a disease. They think they can deal with it better by calling it a disease. I would prefer to say it is a symptom of disease. Drug dependency, alcohol dependency, the dependency that men and women find in excessive food, excessive sex, is all trying to find pleasure to get away from pain. Listen, it is a symptom of something deep and disturbing within the psyche of the human being. And until and unless we deal with what drug dependency and alcohol dependency and obesity and sexual promiscuity is the symptom of, then you will look at the whore and condemn her. You will look at the person who cannot stay at home but has to find another woman or another man to satisfy this sick need for more and more pleasure, but never is satisfied, because it is not just the chemical imbalance. It is something wrong that medical science and psychologists and psychiatrists are not really dealing with. Because if the medical profession and the psychiatrists and the psychologists actually deal with the problem, then the whole world, the whole society has to be reordered. And this is why when Christ comes, he says, "Behold, I make all things new." I gotta make it all new, because it can't be built on opposites anymore. I have found the witness in the creation of the originator. It was not perfect in the beginning, because the knowledge that produced it was not a perfect knowledge. Oh, Brother Farrakhan, what are you saying? Are you saying that God in the beginning was imperfect? That's exactly what I'm saying. He didn't create a perfect world, did he? He created a world, and he put it on a path toward perfection, because that was his original desire. He wanted perfection, and this is why he's called Rabbil Alameen, the Lord, nourisher, sustainer, and evolver of all of the worlds toward their eventual perfection. And this is why we start off as sperm, imperfect but perfect in that form, in that stage. Then we grow to a clot, then an embryo, then a fetus, then a child, still complete yet incomplete, still evolving, still trying to move on to the goal that God has intended, and that is perfection. I asked the Honorable Elijah Muhammad one day, I said, "Dear Apostle, the Quran asks the question, do you find any crookedness in the God?" And I said, "Dear Apostle, he created the earth with a wobble in it. You look at the earth, she's not perfectly round. Is that right? And by the earth's not being perfectly round, being oblong or egg-shaped, she doesn't revolve with a pure, smooth motion. Is that right? But you don't feel no wobble. Ain't that heavy? God is a master at solving problems. Just bear with me. Hang out with me a minute today. Y'all all right?
Yes, sir.
Listen, trying to follow me now. As you have heard me say before, that if you have a imbalance in your tire. Don't you feel it in the ride?
Yes, sir.
Doesn't the steering wheel shake? You sit down, you're not as comfortable when the tires are not balanced. Is that right? Where there's an imbalance or wobble, you feel it. Well, the earth is created in an egg shape. And there is nothing that God created that is perfectly round. The universe itself is not a perfect circle. Is that right? Neither the sun, nor the moon, nor the stars, nor any planet. And you can't draw a perfect circle. It's not even in your nature to draw it perfect. You got to get you an instrument. Because freehand, you can't do it. The wobble will come out in your freehand. Oh, yeah, because in your nature, you got the wobble.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. Even though you're born to conquer the wobble, you got it in your nature. So the way God compensates for the wobble and the planet's leaning 23 degrees, 30 minutes to the plane of its orbit, and as she makes a motion, she makes dips in and out, and those dips in and out, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us, gives us the changes in our seasons. It's not a smooth motion, but you don't feel nothing. This is the smoothest ride. I mean, you get up in a 747, you say, that white man is bad. And that 747 is a mean plane, brother. She just goes on down the highway, the runway. And when she takes off, she's just smooth. And when she gets on up 40,000 feet in the air, until she hits turbulence. And brother, when that hits some turbulence, you begin to call on whoever you know to help you out, brother, because you too far up. And if that bad boy come down, we all in trouble. So everybody takes a way to their Lord immediately. You better say all us devils. Because we get to him too. Yeah. Let me just say this. Sisters and brothers, look. The smooth ride that we're on. This earth is so magnificent. She's traveling 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. Check it out. That's some heavy speed, brother. You don't hear nothing. You don't feel nothing. But she's moving. She moves you into the sun, and she keeps on stepping and then moves you into the shadow of the earth, and you call that night. You didn't even realize you was moving. You slept last night just as calm as a baby in the womb. It was a smooth ride. God gave you a firm resting place until he shakes it. Then everybody gets upset when he shakes the earth. You know that the earth ain't supposed to be shaken, because you depend on the earth when you walk. But if you've ever been in an earthquake, brother, that's a horrible feeling, man. That thing go to rocking, man. And you get frightened because the earth is not supposed to shake like that. You follow me? God has compensated for the earth's wobble by creating her to obey a law. And as long as she follows the law of light, the wobble in her motion produces a minimal amount of friction, which will ultimately wear away the planet. So the scholars say that the sun is dying, and one day it will go out. And if the sun goes out, all of this folds up. But the God said there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. Why you got to make it new? If this was perfect, you can't improve on perfection. Talk to me. See, when white folk make a new product, they say new and improved ivory. New and improved does or dove or whatever you use. If it was perfect, you leave it alone. If it ain't wrong, don't fix it. But the God today sees imperfection. So he says, I make all things new. Now, I want to look at nature. I want to look at what it is in us that there are so many good fathers that produce sons that are the opposite of themselves. You look in the Bible and in the Quran, it doesn't talk so much about daughters that go away from prophets and oppose them, though there have been those. But it highlights sons of righteous men that become enemies of the righteousness of their fathers. Brothers from the womb of a righteous mother, but they become enemies of each other because one wants right and the other wants to go astray. What is it that produces this? Have you ever thought about it? I want you to just follow me now. I'm not going to be too long. I just want to hit a few points here to come back to drugs and tie it together. Why does the scripture say two will be in the same bed? But I'm going to take one and leave the other. Why did the scripture say they of a man's own household will be his worst enemies? Why did Elijah Muhammad, going in a direction for the salvation of his people, produce one who took the people opposite the way of that father? What happens? Is it a condemnation of the father? Is it that the father is no good? Let's see. How come so many good people produce children that are no good? Why is passing power on from a father to a son maybe not the best way? Because the son may not have nothing in his mind like the father, only have the blood of the father. He may have a look like his father, but is as contrary to the father as night is from day. Why then should something be given to the son? Because he is the son rather than because he's worthy. Talking about families now. I want to get into your family, my family, our families. I wanted to get into Muhammad's family. I want to get into God and his family. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. All of our problems in life are not dealing with drugs or alcohol. Our problems deal with relationships that don't give us joy. and pleasure. Our problem is not the problem of drugs or alcohol, it's the problem of relationship. You're not born into the world to be alone. None of us. We are born to relate to others. And it is in improper relationships, sick relationships, relationships that are based on tainted, sick desires. I just want you to reason with me today. And I want you to look at your life as I look at mine. Because every one of us is sick to a degree because of relationships that were not good either with the mother, with the father, with your sister, with your brother, with your teacher, with your friends, with your wife, with your husband. It's improper relationships that give us no pleasure in life. An improper relationship means that there's a lack of communication. We don't know how to relate. We don't know how to communicate. And all relationship is based upon communication. Let's talk. I want you to look at your mother as I look at mine. I want you to look at your father as I look at mine. I want you to look at the nature of the circumstances of our life in America and the relationship that we've had to white people, to the government, to the society, to its institutions. Our problem is a problem of relationships. Wrongly established, wrongly motivated. Let's go to our nature now. Thank you, Allah. Our nature is, please listen, that we have a need to be made secure. Since we come into the world weak and not strong, ignorant and not wise, helpless and not able to help ourselves, then we need a relationship that makes us feel secure. Listen, please, just follow me and bear with me. I know it's hot in here. I just want to get this out of me. And this didn't come from reading no books. It's come from reading people who is the creation of God and being guided by Allah through what you read and see. Please follow me now. Since we are created in need, then we are created insecure. Not just me, you. All of us come into the world feeling unsafe. A need to be made secure. Now follow me. When you were a sperm, there was a relationship. Sperm to the testicle. In that relationship, you were secure as a sperm. You produced an egg. The egg had a place, the ovary, where it nurtured or matured, developed, and once a month, the egg was released because it was time. Released from that place of security to begin a journey possibly to become a cell of life needing security. So when you were emitted first as an egg and a sperm from your secure resting place. Then you were traveling, looking to find that which would create life and finding security. If there is no sperm, then the egg passes in the flow of the blood, and that cycle is repeated again. Is that right? Now listen. When the sperm is present and contacts the egg, and the first cell of life is produced, that cell of life needs to be made secure. So Allah says, I can secure only if I can properly relate you to the womb. So that cell finds, as the Quran says, a firm resting place in the womb, and it holds on, it grips into the fiber of the muscle in the womb, because if it's a good relationship is not established between that newly fertilized egg and the womb, then the life is aborted. Is that right? And what we have today is aborted life. Not life that is evolving toward God in a structured way, but our life is an aborted life because of relationships that have never been proper. Look now, you had a proper relationship in the womb. That's why you're here. Are you listening to me? You had a good relationship. You were no test tube baby. Is that right? I didn't think so. In that womb now, because of that relationship, the need of that newly fertilized egg was met by the food that the mother intook. Not that the mother was even conscious that something down there had a need, but a God who knew all things had ordained this and created the law. That's why I want to say to every brother, every sister, how dare you think that you can make it in this world? How dare you crumble under the weight of some oppression or some problem or some run-out mate or somebody rejected you and you crying in the night and feel that you can't make it? How dare you think like that? How dare you think that because your husband is in jail or your wife is away or your husband is in Germany in the war that you can't hold on till he gets home? How dare you think that way? Because he wasn't there when you were just a fertilized egg. Nor was she there, brother, when you were a fertilized egg, but God was present in the darkness of the womb with you alone. So whenever you got a problem and you can't find no help nowhere, I'm telling you, the first relationship and the only relationship that must be firmly established, then all relationships come from that. You got to have a relationship with the God who created your life, or you have nothing at all to hold on to. Now, mama, blessed mama, she's God's divine agent. Every woman is a blessed creature. Brothers. The world is just messed up because of this chauvinist attitude of men. Woman can't tell me nothing. What the hell you mean? I don't understand that. You wouldn't be here if she didn't make you. So don't you think if she can't make you, she can't teach you? If she made you, she can help you. If she made you, she can teach you. If she made you, she can lead you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on. That's right. Yes, sir.
Chauvinism has no place in the world of God, but religion has destroyed women.
That's right.
Islam, Christianity,
That's right.
Buddhism, Judaism put women down and use the books of God to do it, misunderstanding of the word. Sisters, there's not a woman born that isn't a blessed creature. You born blessed, you just become cursed by circumstances. You're an agent of God in the whole process of regenerating human life, recreating it over and over again, making it better and better. You are God's agent of evolutionary process until a woman is born to produce the perfect child, to start a perfect world. It's going to come through a woman. Y'all all right? Follow me now. But let's look at our relationship with our mother. That's been a pretty bad thing. Not saying that our mothers are not trying, our mothers don't mean well. Our mothers don't know enough. In fact, the women of the world don't know themselves. So if you don't know who you are in relationship to God, then you can't do your job properly as God's divine agent in the building and making and nurturing of human life. May I tell you something? That little baby that was developed and is developing now in your blessed womb, you're not cursed because you're having a baby. You're a blessed woman. And your baby hopefully will be a blessing to you and to the world if it pleases God, but more if it pleases you. Because you have a lot to do with what's coming. Let's talk about these relationships. While that baby is forming in the womb, God has made it relate to water, relate to temperature. It feels comfortable in the womb. It's a nice relationship. It's a beautiful relationship until a certain time. Then God says to the new life, you got to move on. It begins to outgrow the womb. So it begins to be agitated in the womb. And its motion picks up and it starts to kick and move. And then its head turns down because it now must push on the pelvic bone to open the way for the shoulders and the body to come forth. The doctor is not the deliverer. The doctor is not the deliverer. God is the deliverer. Allah says, I formed you in your mother's womb. I allowed you to come to terms. I brought you forward. So if the doctor had a hand in it, know that there's a hand over his hand. And the baby, whether you know it or not, is working for its own deliverance. The baby's in pain. His head is beating up against bone, pushing on the bone. God is making the bone softer and the head harder to come forward. And that's why babies look so old and beat when they come out, because they came through pain. to get here. I don't know how these mothers can say, oh, he's so cute. But go ahead, mama, help yourself. Most of these babies that I see in the first hour, they ugly, bro. And I mean, their faces all screwed up. You see a frown on their face. You say, what he frowning about? That baby been through hell trying to get here. And God helped it to get here when you couldn't. You in there, and the doctor and your husband and your friends saying, push! And you said, but I can't push! You pushing, and don't you think that baby ain't pushing too? You said it was a nice relationship, but I gotta move on. I seek refuge in the Lord of men, the King of men, the God of men. See, you gotta move on. And after that baby comes out, it comes out into a temperature that ain't like the womb. It ain't as comfortable as the womb. It's air now, not water. It's away from the temperature of the body. The baby needs to be made secure. Secure. Security is your breast. That's the baby's security. But you, immediately, foolish woman, or hard-working woman who has to make a decision. It's either my breast or nothing because I got to go to work. So before the baby is secured on your breast, with the warmth of your body resembling the warmth of your womb, that baby needs that cuddling. It needs that warmth. It needs that presence. It needs that sucking. And you need it too. Because the baby, you're not only helping the baby, but the baby is helping you to come back to health. But this world interferes with nature. This world interferes with relationships. So the relationship between the child and the mother is broken almost immediately. So the baby feels what? Insecure. You don't feel too good either, working mother, because you at the job thinking about your baby. How's my baby? Being fed Similac. Good God Almighty. Here, God bless your breasts with the best food. You put your baby on a chemical formula made by some cracker without absolute knowledge of nothing. You put your baby on a chemical formula. Put your baby on soy bean milk. Put your baby on a cow's udder so that you can get back to form quickly, because in this world my body is my business. So the baby doesn't have a good relationship. It has an effect on the child's mind, has an effect on the way the child grows. Did you hear me? It makes the child irritable. See? You can comfort that baby like nothing. You say, I done fed the baby. Where did you feed it? I done changed my baby. He's dry. What the hell is he making all this noise for? Boy, shut up. Shut up, damn it. Ma. You become an abusive parent now. Because you don't understand your child is insecure. And your child needs you, but you have to go to work. Because there ain't no man working to help you. So you got to work. So you push your baby into a cold crib. And you give it a bottle that resembles the nipple. And that's why you got a child that resembles a human being. Ain't no father around half the time. So you can't be contented, mother, even when you're feeding it from your breast. You so messed up in your head. Till the chemical imbalance of your own thoughts feeds the baby. And the baby is irritable because you're irritable. You're not at peace, so you can't feed peace. Yeah. Broken relationship. Now, when the children grow up in the family, you see, a baby is coming, one baby out, another baby in. So the mother's upset because she had a diaphragm on. I ain't getting too personal. I'm just hitting these points that people don't want to talk about. So when you find out you're pregnant and you had an intrauterine device and it didn't work, now you're really upset. You're upset with the man. You're upset with yourself. You're upset with life. So the baby that you have, who still needs nurturing, is pushed off now. If you don't abort what you got in you and you produce it, now you got two. The first one was not properly nourished. Now the second one comes, and the first one is sort of jealous of the second one, and the relationships is bad now between the baby and the mother. Ain't no relationship with the father, and now the two babies don't get along. Because you never knew how to include the second baby or the first baby into the birth of the second. White women today bringing the dogs around the table so that the dog don't feel put out when the new baby comes. And you don't know how to make a second child relate to the first child, because automatically sometime when the father of the second child ain't the father of the first child, and the father of the third child is not the father of the second or the first, you done started off messed up already. No relationship. You're not related properly. The baby's not related properly. Born into a world that don't want black no way. So we can't relate to the mother. I'm going to talk about myself. Because, see, I like to use myself as an example. Because unless you're willing to face yourself, you can't help nobody else. Unless you're willing to analyze yourself and stop lying to yourself, then you're not able to help nobody else. You have become so weak and so wicked and so perverse that you delude your own mind, you lie to yourself, and therefore you can't even recognize truth anymore. You become devils because you're afraid to face the reality of your own self. Let me point something out. Y'all all right? Yeah. Walk with me a little ways. Just a little more. And you know, when you hear things like this that you never heard before, thank Allah. You know, don't look too much at Farrakhan. You know? But thank Allah that there's a man somewhere.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That God can teach to teach you.
Yes. Yes, sir.
My mother told me that when I was conceived, she tried to abort me. So that is rejection. I was rejected from the womb. Many of you came as accidents. Mama didn't want you. Father didn't want you. Either they were too afraid to abort you or they tried and it didn't work, because in those days when you were young there were no abortion clinics. You had to get it round the back door or somebody's office with an old hanger, coat hanger, or something that they would inject. And some women died trying to abort life, not knowing what was in the womb. Is that right? You reject life. You don't want life. You don't know life. You don't understand life. So when life is in you, instead of cradling life, adoring life, wanting life, nurturing life, thanking God for life, you want to kill life and wonder why life is killing you. You don't know how to live. You're dying every day, don't know how to live because you're not akin to life. Bad relationship with life. You got a bad relationship to the God, a bad relationship to the earth, a bad relationship to the sun, a bad relationship to the water, to the plants. You're not related well to nature because you follow one who is unrelated. Oh, Allah, help me to get through this. Listen, my mother didn't want me. But after she tried to abort me several times and it failed, she said, I'll go on and have him. She didn't know what I was, but she was hoping I was a girl. Some women, for whatever their reasons, they're not trying to have life and have it healthy. They want this or that, which is natural, because you're trying to please somebody else outside the womb. Some of you, your mothers wanted a boy. And when she saw you come forth as a girl, she rejected you. You think the baby don't feel that? You think the baby don't feel that? Put the baby on your breast and you don't want it there, it feels it. It may not be able to discern what it feels, but it knows rejection. And later on in life, you're going to come to face that baby coming up, rejecting life. You're not bonded to your children, and your children are not bonded to you. You have a sick bond with your children, and your children got a sick bond to you. They are more bonded to the world because you took them from your breast and you gave them to the world. And now you wonder why the world got a stronger hold on your babies than the mother, the father, or anybody else. You're too busy for the children. You're partying too much. You finger popping too heavy. You're in the disco too much, in the bar too much, chasing what? Chasing what you want out of life. You want pleasure, but you got pain, and you want relief from the pain. So the baby is pain. To remember you got a baby from a nigga that didn't love you. But you out in the world partying to get another one from somebody else that don't love you. Sick relationships. And since the woman is not connected to the man, she disconnects the child from the father. Almost immediately, you got babies, some of you ain't never seen them. Some of you brothers in here got babies. You don't give a damn whether them babies have a bowl of soup. I don't know how you could do this, brother, except you've been dehumanized to the point where you are lower than an animal. Because now you produce life. Life is here. It looked like you is from you, and you know damn well it's yours. But you would think more of giving your money to the crack dealer, giving your money to the cocaine dealer, giving your money to the whore on the street corner, rather than sending $1 to feed your babies. So the mother who don't get no support, she disconnects, pulls the plug on the father. So the children ain't got no relationship to you. And they got a halfway relationship with their mother. Now my mother, she was a faithful woman. But I didn't understand her. My mother knew that the man was not proper. She was a strong woman. And ain't a man she ever met in life that could handle her, could think like her. She was sharp. She was aggressive. She was not lazy. She could outthink 99 and 9/10% of the men around. And she's that way today. On her deathbed, she's thinking. That's right. Yeah. She was a wonderful mother, but I didn't understand her. I learned that her own mother, when her mother saw that she had a vagina instead of a penis, her mother didn't want her. She knew rejection. And when you're rejected, you seek love where you think you can find it. Because all your life you want somebody to love you, black woman. And that's your trap, that's your pain, that's your misery. You want love, but you don't want to find it where it really is. It is in God, not in him. It is in God, not in him. And that's why women are in the church and they fill the church up. And they jump and shout and run. You think your wife done went crazy. No. She said, only Jesus cares. Only Jesus knows my trouble. I can't connect to nothing around me. Let me find it in Jesus. Oh, it's something, sisters. You're trying to get there, but your relationship, even with Jesus, is a sick relationship. You can't help it because you're sick. I'm sick. We sick. The world is sick. Now let me go back to my mom. There was no man in my house to take care of us. And I ain't never seen no man in no bed with my mother. Never. Never. I didn't have to go looking for my mother. My mother would have to come looking for me. And if she looked too long when she found me, I understood not to have her come looking anymore. I have a strong black mother. But I didn't understand. You see, my mother had to work, so she couldn't nurture me, cuddle me. She couldn't give me that love that I know my soul needed. I didn't have the right relationship with my mother. So there was a need in me, unfulfilled. I never went to bed hungry. My mother sometimes only had 10, 15 cents. But I didn't know she didn't have $1,000 because she knew how to take nothing and make something out of it. When it was cold outside, she made sure there was oil in the house, in the heater. And early in the morning, I never got up and saw my mother in the bed. Whenever I got up, she was already up. She had my underwear already cleaned and ironed, and she would put them over the stove so that it would be warm, so in the coldness of the house, I wouldn't have to put on cold underwear. She was busy over the stove making me a full breakfast, no little jive. Here's a little nasty sandwich, but the woman knew whatever she knew of health, and she didn't know proper food, but she knew this, that her children had to have good, solid meals. Hell yes, love. But what child knows that kind of love when you've been separated from the breast and you haven't been cuddled enough to be secure psychologically? This is why these children are so psychologically damaged, because they never had a proper nurturing and relationship and a weaning with their mothers. You produce the chemical imbalance by not nursing. Not for 2 months and let it go. But the Quran says the weaning is for 2 years. Not as long as you can. Or you can nurse them till they're 10 if you want. And some of these will stay on the breast until they're 10. And some of them want to stay on it now at 40. Excuse me. Any resemblance to any persons, you know what I mean, living or dead, is certainly not a coincidence.
All right, family, we're going to pause it right there. And we are going to take it over to feedback time. Those who would like to share their feedback on the premium side, please raise your hand, and we will be able to do that. In the meantime, as well, if you're not in a position to share, or if you are on the Vimeo side as well, please place your feedback and takeaways on this first half of this lecture, the problems in relationships, in the Power Call testimonial section. As we say and continue to repeat, that we all are learning and on this journey of growth and improvement, and what you may have pulled and how you relate to this message is different from someone else's perspective on it. So what you share is appreciated, welcome, and most needed in this community as we build this family and community up and continue to add as much value as possible to one another. I hope and pray that you all have enjoyed thus far what we have. So let me change this here. And I see we got brother Coach Khan on here as well. If you can, brother, because I was trying to look for in the previous power calls we had, Sister Melva had asked a question, I believe last week, in reference to removing the parasites and worms after consuming pork, and you touched on it on a previous power call, maybe a few months ago, in reference to the black walnut oil. So maybe before we close, if you could just briefly comment on that, just so we can wrap that up as well, I would appreciate it. But anyone that would like to comment on today's lecture, please raise your hand, share your feedback. I know you pulled something, because we all need and value the reminders that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has brought to us in reference to relationships and understanding why we deal with what we deal with. So please raise your hand if you would like to comment or share your feedback as well. Let me make sure that everyone can hear. 1 second. Okay. Yes, I see Sister Yolanda. Go ahead. And before you go deep into it, if you can just, I just want to make sure everyone can hear on the other side as well. Let's see here. All right. And you should be able to unmute yourself now. I've taken that off.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And before you get started, Sister Yolanda, people on Vimeo, can you hear the feedback right now? Just let me know in the
Check.
comments.
Check.
Just let me know in the
Brother
comments if you
Winston,
can hear
okay.
Sister Yolanda.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. I think we're good. Go ahead, sister.
Going back to the beginning, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
God is in the core of your nature. So I decided to define core. And core is stated is the tough central part of various fruits containing the seeds. To the part of something that is central to its existence or character. So God is in the core of your nature. No matter how we try to cover it up, ignore it, as it was stated, we were created to think right, to do the right thing. And I always tell my daughter, the youngest one, do the right thing when nobody looking. That's when it counts the most. And yesterday in her class, the professor had some presentation and she FaceTimed me and she said, Mom, look, Mom, look. So I'm looking at the board and I was like, praise be to Allah. So the teacher must have heard me or heard one of us talking. And she mentioned to the teacher, my mother always says that. I just had to call her because she always says that. So that put me in the mindset of, I don't think my children are listening, but they are listening. And I think the confirmation that comes when it comes. It may not come when I want it to come, but it comes. So they hear from another source other than mother. Um, Analyze the sickness of alcoholism and drug dependency, which also he referenced with the dependency that women find in food, all which is to find pleasure to get away from the pain. Again, I spoke to my daughter about that yesterday. You escaping using this so-called legalized marijuana, but you killing your inside. You changing your thought processes or even just being clear on things. You changing all that by inhaling that, which is getting into your bloodstream. And she and I went through the thing when Brother Dr. Wesley was going through the smoking of the marijuana. So when I found out, I was a year late. So stupid. She's right in my house because I never smelled it. And she was like, she been smoking for a year. And I knew. I was like, what? I felt like a bad mom because I'm like, how didn't I pick up on that? But anyway, the earth isn't created in a perfect circle, but we don't even feel the wobble. Just like I didn't feel her smoking. I'm not perfect. I missed it. Okay. Was I doing too much? I need to slow down. Nevertheless, the earth isn't created perfect. So I'm not perfect. As he went into, we are born insecure because we were taken from a place of security. Now we have to come out here and experience something we don't know nothing about because we were safe and sound in that womb, in the womb, insecurity. And even with the egg separating from the ovum, we still searching for security. So being patient with ourselves, really learning ourselves, accepting some things we, came into this world with, as it states that we were born into a world of sin. I may be off saying that, but nevertheless, this lecture was so good, bringing it back to home. Um, our nature is that we have a need to be made secure. So in everything, we have relationships, not just romantic relationships, but business relationships, working relationships at work, relationships in the mosque with the sisters and the captives, and so on and so forth. Everything we pretty much mix into requires us to establish relationships. But the real love is in God, not in man. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. For those comments for sure, because that is right on point, sister. Like I said, we definitely are we're created complete, but we're created incomplete as well. So we require a form of security. That definitely touched on me as well, because as we continue to strive, there's always, as we say, the biggest room in everyone's life is the room for improvement. So there's always something to be worked on. There's always somewhere that we can make some improvements and striving to improve as well. So we definitely want to continue to stay the course and not abort the mission that we're being birthed into, as well as we are all going through this process of being birthed into a God, of being made back into what our original purpose was as well. So along this journey, we definitely want to be patient with ourselves, but be willing to take these type of reminders to heart. And as you've always brought to us as well, that practical application, making sure we're applying what we're learning, what we're seeing and being reminded of, so that we can start and continue to grow in this nature as well. Sister Yasina, go ahead.
Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So my takeaways are when the minister started speaking on the textbook, because that's one of my visions and one of the things that I'm working on myself is creating textbooks for, inshallah, for the nation, for us to use, taking our books and creating ELAR books and science books and things of that nature, history books. And when he spoke on the television and radio aspect, I thought about the year in which he's made that declaration and brought that vision before us of where we are now with modern technology, and how, regardless of the Zionist control of media, Allah is paving a way and has paved a way with the power call and with other avenues where no matter how many times they try to quiet the teachings, that we always find another avenue to get the minister's lectures out to our people, and to look at how with social media we're gone beyond America and we're all in Africa in the different continents. So to hear him that from him then to where we are now, it's like thank you Allah, uh, because we can see where our efforts are helping the minister in that respect. And the other thing was when he spoke about drugs and how the addictions to drugs and to sex and whatever we find ourselves addicted to, how it's something deeper. And it reminded me of my father, may Allah be pleased with him, where he had told me, he said, he was addicted. He was a drug dealer who became addicted to uh, his own street pharmaceuticals. And he said to me, he said, baby girl, I had to, when I was going in and out of rehab, it didn't help. But this time, because he was sober for 7 years before Allah called him home, but he fought. He had to go within himself and deal with his own demons in order for him to have been um, clean as long as he was. And it was something for me when the coroner gave us the report to find out, because people were saying, oh, he must have gone back to using drugs and da 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 da, because he was helping the people, some of the people that he helped to get addicted to drugs when he was selling them. Once he was clean, he was trying to help them. So if they needed, some of the women who were on the streets, if they needed a place to stay, he didn't judge them. He let them come in and let them sleep, let them shower and things of that nature. So for the coroner to give us that report that said he had absolutely no drugs in his system after all the slack talking, gossip, and the murmuring around his quote unquote family and friends, that was a blessing to me, and just one of my praise be to Allah moments, to know that he kept his word. And the other thing was with children and making the one child feel secure when you're expecting another child. I made sure, to the best of my ability, with my oldest daughter, that when I was pregnant with my second daughter, that she went to every appointment that she was able to go to. And so when I would get my sonogram pictures and stuff, they would give her own pictures. And so they're 7 and 11 now, and they have a bond that's so beautiful. And I thank Allah for that. And the other part was, the feeling of rejection when a mother is pregnant. I put it in the chat. My mother tried for 6 months to abort me, but Allah had a different plan. And she didn't want me after I was born. But Allah surrounded me, regardless of my circumstances, He surrounded me with people who loved me in spite of it all. So I say to anybody who is, as an adult, you're still feeling that rejection, you were not rejected by Allah because He allowed you to come into existence. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. All praise due to Allah. 'Cause definitely the wisdom that you've been sharing on this power call, we would be remiss not to be thankful to Allah that you were spared in those attempts as well. So all praise is definitely due to Allah for that, for you sharing as well, sister. And one thing I like to add, and again, anybody would like to share, please raise your hand. We don't have a hard stop at 11, so if we need to go over 11, please raise your hand. We all can continue to share from there. But again, just remember that if you would like to share your takeaways and maybe you're not comfortable coming on camera or coming on the microphone, please utilize the Power Call testimonial section. If you're on the Vimeo side and you would like to upgrade, please go to www.thepowercall.net. Also, a reminder, if you would like to visit your local Muhammad Mosque or study group, please go to www.noistudygroup.com. Be sure to fill out the form. The sister will reach out to you as soon as possible, provide you with the location information and times. Come out on Friday to Self Improvement Study Group, and also come out to the public meeting on Sunday as well, at the local time that's in your area as well. So definitely check that out. One thing that stood out to me, just to build on the wisdom that the other sisters have added to the call, was just in reference to being mindful of the disciplining of our children, not out of frustration. And when I think about frustration is a lack of understanding or not being understood. And many times, as the minister has brought up, that these problems that exist in relationships, as he said in this call or on this lecture, that relationships have problems based off a lack of communication. So the more we strive to improve our communication with one another, even to the point of our communication with our children, the less frustration will be produced, where we won't have to react in a way when things don't go as we may have instructed to our children, that will cause us to discipline them out of frustration based off of our circumstances or the circumstances that may be surrounding the conditions that produce the child or produce the problems that we have in the relationship as well. We just have to be mindful of rising above those emotions, get a better understanding of self, get a better understanding of one another, get more acquainted with Allah, get more acquainted with these teachings, so that we can really be secure in what we're doing, our actions, our motives, our thoughts, so that we are able to effectively communicate, be able to heal some of these wounds that we have, that the world has made the conditions and environment for us to have as well. And we don't want to take it out on our children. Our children are innocent to the conditions that they were brought into. They didn't ask to be here. We made decisions that resulted in them being here. So we want to make sure we take their life just as serious as we want our life taken as well. And that's why these teachings help us to really understand life, as the minister brought out towards the end of towards the end of this part of the lecture, is that we really just don't understand how to live, so we don't value life as we should. And the more we get more acquainted with these teachings, as we continue to strengthen our bond with Allah and be able to continue to study as well, we're able to really understand how precious life is, because we have a true knowledge of self, knowledge of God, knowledge of our enemy as well, the devil, because we have to understand that what we're doing and the way we express ourselves outside of these teachings is based off of how the devil has taught us. The enemy has taught us. This world has taught us. So as we shed off that old personality, as the Bible brings up, and we take on the new personality, we want to make sure that we're conscious of life and how precious life is, and be more mindful of the decisions we're making before we decide to produce life, get in a relationship, and also, like as Sister Yolanda brought up, these business relationships that we have as well, these friendships, these associations that we make, being mindful of how we handle one another, because everything is affected by our communication. Body language is 80-85% of communication. So the way our face may look, the way we may be holding ourselves, just like in the image that we have today, you got the hands crossed and things like that. That's letting you know that you're rejecting whatever's coming to you. So we just got to be mindful of all of these forms of communication. Make sure that we're utilizing them in a way to build, and not to destroy, as well. And another thing that stood out to me, and I think it was brought out in the comments as well, that if you are unwilling to face yourself, you cannot help anyone else. That is very important. I know me personally, as I'm striving to grow, whether it's in business and in my personal development as well, that I'm really at a point now, especially since I've done away with drugs and marijuana and things like that. I've long been away from alcohol, but as I've continued on this journey of growing, facing the problems is so much easier to deal with them when you actually deal with the problem versus trying to run away from it. As the minister brought out, how drugs and alcohol in this particular world, or alcohol and drug dependency, is really a symptom of the real disease, which is that we run away from pain. And the minister brought out how Allah created us to know pain. We went over in a lecture previously in on the power call, how after difficulty comes ease. So we have to face the difficulty. There's a lecture that I would encourage you all to check out, and maybe we'll go over it in the power call in the future, about how hard trials are necessary to establish truth. So many of the things that we're contending with, many of the things that we're going through them. They're not happening to us, they're happening for us. We are reminded of these things. We hear these so-called cliches, but these are true statements that are made that we need to really take to heart, really be mindful of, and understand that if we face the problem, many of the fears that we have, it's really just an illusion, that the situation is not as bad as we think it is. If we actually deal with it, get a better understanding of ourselves and the issue that we have, many of it, as the minister brought out, is just a miscommunication. It's just a lack of communication. It's just a lack of willingness to understand. So if we just put ourselves through the trial, go through the trial, face the pain, we'll realize that we are built to handle it. I believe Brother Ben played a clip in reference to pressure, and how the minister brought out how our body, we don't feel the pressure of the gravity because the same amount of pressure is within us. So if we're keeping these teachings in us spiritually and mentally, then we're able to withstand the pressures that the world may bring to us as well. So that's the reason why we want to make sure that we stay in study. We want to make sure that we come into our meetings, come into our local Muhammad Mosque or study group in our area, so we can continue to be exposed to these teachings, making it to the power call, any form and way that we have been working to be able to continue to shed and express these teachings to our people. We want to make sure that we're taking them as well. We want to take the medicine as well. It's okay to talk about what other people should take. Oh yeah, you should take this medicine, but why should I take it? Because this is what's helped me. So we just want to be mindful of that. Is there anyone else that would like to share their takeaways? If not, if as well, Brother Young Khan, if you're available to be able to touch on that black walnut oil, if you can come up, please, as well. We just wanted to kind of share that. But if not, if you can, Alex, I'll continue to look for the previous video that you spoke on that as well, so that we can share that with the family, so that we all are aware of it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
My apologies for not being able to come on camera at the moment. But before I mention the black walnut, for my sister, I just wanted to encourage all of us, as the minister began to plumb the depths of the problems in relationships. I just want to encourage us that despite whatever each one of us has experienced, As the Holy Quran says in Surah 2, verse 286, I believe, that on no soul does Allah place a burden beyond our ability to bear it. So, whatever it is we have endured, and all of us have endured something, all of us go through some trauma, some trial by which we got here. I may have suffered one way. You may have suffered another way. Your sister may have did this to you. Your mother may have done this to you. Your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband may have done this to you. But whatever it is, family, you have a 100% survival rating. Think about that for a minute, regardless of what you have gone through. And to top it all off, God Himself came 9,000 miles. He didn't send nobody. He heard our moaning and our groaning. He knew our relationships were all jacked up and dysfunctional. But yet He came Himself personally to get each and every one of us, whether you on the call or off the call. Whether you hiding out in the crack house, whether you on the corner popping pills, He personally came for us to give us a new relationship. He gave us something that we could latch on to in spite of what we have suffered, but we are called the greater takers. If we could deal with 400 years of slavery, if we could deal with all of this under the arm and the foot of white supremacy, and yet we still here and we still keep producing greatness, man. Today is not a time for us to keep our heads down. Today is the time for us to lift our heads up and do like Kirk Franklin said and stomp. Stomp on the head of our enemy. Stomp on that thing that you feel like is holding you down. You have a relationship with the wisest God that ever came in the history of creation. So what is it for us to be down and out about? I understand that we have tough times, but tough times never last. Tough people do. How resilient are you? Can you make up your mind to go forward, or will you forever be looking in the rearview mirror, driving 80 miles an hour down the highway of life? Well, if you keep your eyes in the rear view and out on the road, you are bound to crash. So I'm fired up, as y'all can tell, as always. I don't like to come on here and say too much because y'all gonna get me started, man. Then I just got to go do 1,000 setups or to write 100 songs or do something, man, to just get this energy off because it's our time, family. There's no power in the heavens and the earth that can stop what we doing right now because we got the God Himself backing us. We got His Christ, His Messiah backing us. We got their divine reminder, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan backing us. We got the forces of nature backing us. We got the mother plane backing us. We got the bomber planes backing us. Come on, y'all. We got to go out there and change it if it's meant to be. It's up to me. So that's my takeaway, Brother Wesley. I don't even know why you got me started. You already know how I get out. Now to my sister about the black walnut. You have to do some research and just look for the most concentrated form of it that you can find, right? Preferably the liquid. The liquid gets into the bloodstream quicker, and that will help to drive these parasitic worms out of your body. So again, I don't have a particular brand or a resource for you to look into, but I'm sure in this world of AI and Google and YouTube and all of that, it's easy to locate something that will be of tremendous value when it comes to the black walnut. But just look for the most concentrated form. And with that, I'll land the plane. Thank you, Brother Wesley. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. All praises due to Allah. Yes, it's right on time, brother. I'm glad you was available to speak for us, or speak to us, I should say, as well, because we need it. We need to be able to get that encouragement. We need these reminders. That's the whole point of a reminder, because these are things that we know. We've heard, many of us have heard these teachings for years. Many of us have been listening to lectures from the minister for years. We've been open and exposed to these teachings for years, but we still need to be reminded because this world continues to remind us of what not to do every day. It doesn't stop 24/7. I remember at one point in time, and I'm like talking like I'm old, but at one point in time, TV used to cut off. It used to be a certain time where there was no more TV. You had to wait. You had to go and cut it off and wait. Now TV is running all day long. Social media is going all day long. The radio runs all day long. So we need to be moving closer to these teachings and keeping these teachings on us all day long. That's why we have Final Call Radio. That's why we have Elijah Radio. That's why we have the power call. That's why there's a master call. That's why there's all of these methods that we're utilizing, because we have to be able to not compete with the enemy, but we got to be able to show the enemy that we're not going to stop, because he's not going to stop. The enemy is wise, but we have to remember that we're aligned with the most wise, the best knower, the best of planners. So the enemy can plan all they want. They got a plan, they got a plot. But we have to make sure that we're working with the best of planners as well, and constantly being exposed to these teachings, and constantly working on ourselves. Yes, be patient with ourselves, but be active in that patience with doing it and striving to be able to improve and continue to build with one another as well. If there's no one else that would like to share, like I'm like Brother Coach Khan, I don't try to take over or nothing like that. I love to hear from the family, but if there's no one else that would like to raise their hand and share their takeaways, their comments on this first half, I appreciate everybody for tapping in, coming out to your power call. All praises due to Allah. Everything is working smoothly. Everyone's able to hear. Keep in mind, if you would like to upgrade, please go to www.thepowercall.net if you haven't already. Because we have a lot of features that we have available. Keep in mind that the power call in itself will always be available to the family. But of course, we have some things on the premium side that if you would like to upgrade to, we got the sisters only chat. They've been up and running, having classes. The brothers only chat as well. We're gonna have classes for us as well, brothers. So just stay patient, but just keep in mind that you will need to upgrade before you get accepted. I know we see it available and it says private, and we want to join it, but that is a part of the premium feature, because of course our goal is to be able to provide as much value as we can within the app. But there's courses available. We all have the replays. Just be patient. The replays will be posted available from what we did on Monday and Tuesday as well. And if you're having any issues with your access, we're striving to make a method for us to be able to communicate on a better level as well. So just stay patient with that as well, so that we can communicate any updates. If you have any issues with your access, you can communicate back with the team as well, so we can be unified in those efforts as well. If you would like to visit your local Muhammad Mosque, please go to www.noistudygroup.com, fill out the form. The sister will reach out to you as soon as possible, and be sure to visit on Friday, Self-Improvement Friday. One of those things, as the minister brought out, it's about self-examination. Face our problems. Let's talk about it. Let's be amongst the family and be able to improve, because there's someone else who's gone through, as Brother Coach Khan brought out as well, that he may have experienced something. I've experienced something. Brother King Cam, Sister Lex, Sister Randisha, Sister Yolanda, everybody in the family here may have experienced something different, and be able to tell us about what we went through, how we're going through it, how we were able to rise above those emotions, face those trials, and move forward, so that we can take that medicine as well. And that medicine all comes from these life-giving teachings given to us by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Reminded to us and taught to us by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And again, we want to just make sure that we utilize the power call testimonial section. Share your takeaways, because I'm sure you've learned and been able to get more from this lecture. This is just the first half. We have a part 2 coming as well, and we want to make sure that we are in attendance so that we can continue to grow as well. But if there's no one else that would like to share, I appreciate everybody tapping in. Have a black-tastic rest of your day, and inshallah we'll see each other tomorrow, same time, same place, 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, wherever your time zone may be. Check your messages. Be sure to go and RSVP for the events. It's all scheduled for the rest of the week so that you can get the notifications as well. We'll continue to send the mass messages so that we all can be reminded, because we all can use the reminder to come on in. But come on out again tomorrow, inshallah. We'll see each other. And as always, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.